All right, this week we're talking about a Carl Zeiss cult classic known as the Flek. No. Not Shrek. No.
Fletch.
Not Fletch. The Flek. Flektogon. 35mm. And this one is the latter rendition, born in 1976. This is the Flektogon f2.4. Originally, Flektogon went on for years and years and years and years as a 2.8, but they improved it as a 2.4, and that's what we're going to be talking about today because it is a pretty cool lens. So let's get at it.
Here I am, Vietnam. Rain is always coming down.
This is Camera Talk with Dr. Scott. Okay, this week, as the intro says, we're looking at the Flek, the Flektogon, Carl Zeiss, Jena. Flektogon's a 35mm, and not that big. As you can see, it's got a, well, you can't see, I guess, from there, but the adapter it has on it is a M42 to NEX adapter. And, you know, as we discussed in many videos, you know, putting adapters on vintage lenses serves the purpose of making up that distance on SLRs. That was where the rear element mounted on the camera, and then you had the mirror, then you had the sensor behind that. So now that with today's mirrorless cameras, you don't have that mirror anymore, so things are a lot more compact, a lot closer. The sensor's closer to the rear element, but that would throw off, you know, all your focusing and everything else. So the adapter makes up that distance, so that's why they're kind of bulky. But anyway, the Flektogon was made originally in the 1950s. You know, and again, the Jena factory being in East Germany at the time, you know, being run by the Soviets, you know, during their occupational period of East Germany, did okay as far as things like production went, but, you know, things, you know, with QC and whatnot weren't the best. So, you know, the Carl Zeiss lenses from that era, you know, have good reputation, obviously, for the quality of the image and whatnot, but workmanship was something that was hit or miss. So if you're lucky, you'll get a good sample. Mine is pretty good. The only complaint I have is the focusing ring is a little stiff.
That's what she said.
And that may be just from the tank grease or whatever the heck they used, you know, to lubricate their helicoid. But it's, you know, the rest of it is cool. So that's what we're going to be looking at now is this particular lens. As I said in the intro too, it's got a cult classic following. You know, there's a lot of people who rave about the Flek. You know, it's fantastic, 35mm and so forth and so on. You know, as I said, it was born in the 1950s. It was a silver body, kind of like the Biotar and others that look the same. You know, a lot of lenses from that era had that aluminum body, so they were shiny. But this one was produced in 1976 and improved upon, went from 2.8 down to 2.4. A couple other little things different as well. And again, I'm sure you can't see from there, but we'll do a close-up to show you here. That the MC for multi-coating is red versus there's also another version where they're white. There's arguments out there that say one is better than the other. Who's to say, you know, subjective stuff, but I'm sure the red stands out as being more valuable to many because of the asterisk T, you know, for the coating that Carl Zeiss was famous for. It's probably where that lure comes from. But this is an early model, or a sample, I should say, of this particular model. It's the serial number 9629. So it was kind of new at the time. But you know, they made millions of these things. So so this is a, you know, an early model, early sample. But one of the things that makes it famous, besides just being a Carl Zeiss lens, is its close focus ability. You know, it's almost like a macro lens, even though it's a 35 millimeter lens, because it can close focus down to 20 centimeters, which is you know, 7.57 inches. So it's pretty close. You know, again, for a 35 wide angle, that's not bad at all. But it's also famous for its you know, image quality, its sharpness. Now, of course, its sharpness, again, just like all vintage lenses, has its hit or miss between ranges. Some people will claim that at 2.4 wide open, it's super sharp. You know, mine's sharp enough, you know, at 2.4. But again, sample by sample variation makes a difference. So if you get one, perhaps yours might be super sharp. Perhaps yours might be as dull as a butter knife. But it does sharpen up. And again, looking at mid-frame, you know, wide open mid-frame is like, it's mushy. But you get up to around 5.6, f.5.6, and it starts to sharpen up. If you want sharp from corner to corner, f8, all the way up to f11, again, depending on your sample, you'll get it across the whole frame. The other things some people may complain about, especially if you're going to use this for video, is the aperture. Aperture is clicked, but not only is it clicked, it's loudly clicked. I mean, listen to this. You know, just going from one half stop at a time. You know, it is loud. So for video purposes, this may not be the one for you, or you just take it apart and take the little ball bearing out there, and you don't have a clicked aperture anymore. So that's up to you too. The other great thing about these older lenses too is they're easy to take apart. I'm not going to show you that here, but you know, basically extend the lens so you have as much to grab here, and you basically grab this part and you unscrew it, and away you go. You're in. This one, again, this model 1976 also comes with electric, called electric, on the back. I can show you. Take the adapter off here, and you can see there's 3 contact points on here so that it can actually communicate with the camera. You know, and again, back in the day, that was an SLR. But anyway, really, that's the biggest difference between this and the 1950s Flektogon, which I also have, but I can't show it to you right now because it's at school. You know, I have a Voigtlander SLR that I put the Flektogon on as just something to decorate my desk at school, and we've been on lockdown for the last few weeks, so I can't go to school to get it to show you, so you're just gonna have to take my word for it that I have one. But anyway, that's not important because the video is about this one here. This one's a lot better than that one anyway. So some specs about this, you know, it's 6 elements in 6 groups. As I already told you, the close focus on this little sweetheart here is 20 centimeters or 7.57 inches, and that's pretty nice for a 35. It's got 6 blades, but as much as usually 6 blades have a kind of a negative effect on bokeh, again, for a 35, this one has some pretty nice bokeh. You know, the background looks painterly. You know, it's very, very nice. So those 6 blades shouldn't be a bother too. Its weight, 240 grams, so it's not very heavy. and in the imperial system, that's 8.46 ounces. And again, it's you know, it's kind of got the best of all worlds. You know, it's got a lot going for it as far as being a 35 goes. So that's pretty much really what I wanted to focus on with this too. So I'm going to show you some, well, my usual picture of the, I use a Canon M50 to record these videos. So I'm going to give you a shot of the end of the EF M15-45 lens that's on the camera now. You know, other than that, I'm going to give you some shots of Dylan that I took last night. Aww. I'm going to show you again just differences between the 2.4 and f4. You know, I'm not going to go wild showing you all the different f-stops, but I'll just pick those two to show you if you could spot any differences between them. Now, of course, remember Dylan is a well, was it 2 more days? He'll be 15 months. So he's a little firecracker, runs around like a madman. Not the best subject for portraiture as he used to be when he was tied down to a stroller and on the bed and couldn't really go anywhere. You know, he was ideal for baby pictures. Aww. But now he's a challenge. So I'll give you some snapshots anyway of him at 2.4 and then f4, and then some other shots too using this lens just to show you its capabilities. But for right now, this is at 2.4. As I said, let me get the end of the lens, the EFM lens here, and for as much as people saying, oh, it's not that sharp wide open, I think it's pretty sharp. Anyway, so 1, 2, 3. As I said, let me stop down to f4 just to show you what that looks like, and then let me open up my shutter so that I could get some decent light in here. Same thing. Actually very sharp just right there. 1, 2, 3. All right. So that was at f2.4 and at f4. As I said, I'm going to show you some pictures of Dylan right here at f2. And again, Dylan at f4. And here's some shots, you know, using this lens, just as some random things, you know, landscape, architecture, portraiture, stuff like that, just to again give you a little idea of what the capability of this lens is. All right, so that was the Flektogon 35mm Carl Zeiss Jena f2.4, and it's the multi-coated electric variation, born in 1976. How old was I in 1976? I was 11 years old, I guess. Something like that. 76, wasn't that the year Elvis died? Where were you when Elvis died? I remember where I was. I was at summer camp. I was just coming back out of the lake. We were swimming and coming up on the beach, and one of the camp counselors came out and said, Elvis died, Elvis died. I thought, oh, well, that's not even funny. What kind of joke is that one? You know, I was waiting for a better punchline. You know, back when you were a kid, you know, nobody famous ever dies. But anyway, so that was the Flektogon. And so to kind of wrap up our whole scene here, next I want to quickly do a quickie introduction to the software that I use for my photo editing. You know, I recommend that you guys do so as well. You know, there's all kinds of free stuff out there and everything, but if you want cool bells and whistles, the software that I use is Luminar and Luminar AI. They're both excellent. They're very economical, you know, compared to some of the others out there. Of course, the mother of them all, the Lightroom and Photoshop and whatnot, they're a little pricier. You know, if you want all the bells and whistles, you got to pay monthly fees and everything. So if you add all that up, it's quite expensive. But Luminar, they get the bare bones without any discounts or everything else. I think they're $89, and it's yours for life too. There's no monthly anything, and you know, you download it, it's yours. You upgrade for free and everything else. But
like big butts and I cannot lie.
There's sales every now and then, so you get it cheaper. And if you want it even cheaper than that, then whatever discount sale it could be, whether it's $79, $69, $59, who knows, click below. There's a link below. You know, I'm one of their little ambassadors, so I, you know, save you $10 on that purchase. So hey, 10 bucks is 10 bucks, right? And of course I get a little kickback out of that too. But it's not the only reason why I'm doing this. Is because I think it's an excellent software, and it does, you know, again, whether you're in portraiture, whether you're into landscape, you know, whether you're into street photography, you know, whatever it could be, architecture, you know, it works well for everything, and it's kind of a one-stop shop. And so anyway, that's why, you know, I give it its little plug, because I think they deserve it. And so buy yourself a copy. And other than that, while I'm speaking of telling you what to do, how about you help my channel out, huh? Help expose me to the world. That's right, so subscribe. And 2 times the charm. Do you have 2 accounts? You could subscribe twice. And a last time, in case you weren't paying attention, subscribe. That's right. And whether you liked this video or hated it, either way, give me a thumbs up anyway. Because why not? It doesn't cost you anything. Just helps me out. So thumbs up also brings on the thumbs up girls. And last but not least, come on back next week, right? Here I am in Vietnam, locked down. My school's closed, so we're doing everything online. So I'm teaching from here. You know, this is also my classroom. So yeah, since we're doing lockdown and everything, stay COVID free out there. If you haven't got your vaccine yet, get vaccinated. I know the anti-vaxxers are like, oh no, it's all evil. The government's tracking me, or I'm gonna get some kind of weird disease and have a third eyeball pop out of my head, or who knows what people think and why they think it. But vaccines work. They're not perfect, nothing is, but it's better than nothing. If you track the recent COVID infections, it's all pretty much people who haven't been vaccinated, at least being hospitalized anyway. I mean, like any vaccine, doesn't stop you from getting a virus, just like a flu shot doesn't stop you from getting the flu, but it just reduces the results of getting the flu or the results of getting COVID-19. So with this particular strain too, the Delta variation, it's kind of a kick-ass version.
Oh my God.
You don't want to mess with it, so get vaccinated. And otherwise, wear your mask, wash your hands, social distancing, you get away from me, and you back off, mister, and don't ride the elevator with 20 people in there, and so forth and so on. No more one-night stands. No, not that the bars are open right now anyway, but depending on where you are in the world, stay away from those people. Stay away from the infection. All right, so come on back next week, because remember, you belong here, and this was Camera Talk with Dr. Scott. brought to you by Modesty Photography. You know, we are here to save you money, to help you maybe learn something about photography or about the equipment or about something that you may not have known about before. Perhaps you're already an expert in all this and you think everything I say sucks. That's up to you. But again, you can't please everybody, right? So I'm here for the people who don't really know anything, or the people who maybe want a little entertainment, thinking, oh my God, this guy's a maniac. But really, I'm here for you. So if you have any questions, comments, leave them in the comment section below, and I'll try to get right back to them ASAP. And other than that, I will see you next week. So come on back, all right? And we'll see you. All right? Bye-bye.
Here I am,